Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyahet Sarva Vignopashantahe. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Mavit Pishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Agajanana Patmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktaram Ekadantam Upasmahe Shri Mahaganapadaye Namaha Gurave Sarva Lokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Asmat Guru Charanarvindhabhyam Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Shri Hayagrivam Upasmahe Shri Hayagrivamurthaye Namaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha Uma Komala Hastabja Sambhavitalatakam Hiranyakundalam Vande Kumaram Pushkarashrajam Vetrivel Muruganek Hara Haro Hara Lokaviryam Mahapujyam Sarvarakshakaram Vibhum Parvati Hridayanandam Shastaram Pranamamyaham Swamiye Sharanamayappa Vagartapipa Sampraktau Vagarta Pratipattahe Jagadah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Shri Parvati Parameshwarabhyam Namaha Komalam Pujayan Venum Shyamaloyam Kumarakah Veda Vedyam Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Asmad Guru Charanarvindhabhyam Namaha Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Pitambaram Karavirajita Chakra Shanka Kaumodaki Sarasijam Karuna Samudram Radha Sahayam Atisundara Mandahasam Vatalayesham Anisham Hridi Krishno Rakshatu Mam Chara Chara Guru Krishnam Namasye Sadha Krishne Naiva Surakshito Hamasakritam Krishnaya Dattam Hanaha Krishna Deva Samudbhavo Mama Vibho Krishnasya Dhasosmyaham Krishne Bhakti Rachancalastu Bhagavan He Krishna Dubhyam Namaha Shri Guru Vayurappa Sharanam Namranham Sannidhatte Satadamapi Purastairanabhyartitanapi Arthan Kamanajasram Vitarati Paramananda Sandram Gatim Cha Itham Nisheshalabhyo Niravadika Phalaha Parijato Hare Tvam Shrudram Tam Shakravati Dhrumamabhilashati Vyartamarte Vrajohyam Shri Guruvayurappa Sharanam Shri Bhattapadam Anisham Hridi Bhavayami Vamshi Vibhushitakarat Navaniradabat Pitambharat Arunabimba Phaladaroshtat Purnendu Sundaramukhat Aravindhanetrat Krishnat Param Kimapi Tattvamaham Najane Kairindum Kupinyan Vindhum Hirakunnu Niraja Lochana Ninodhai Etinhum Anyane Kumbidenda Toru Britiyel Niyenne Palekyenai Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare. Good morning, everyone. All right, so let's see. I know others will join in a few minutes. So since we have only a handful, so Vijay, can you do 23? And then
Yes.
and Lakshmi Garu, can you do the 41?
Yes.
Okay.
Om Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. प्राचेतसस्तु भगवन् अपरो हि दक्षः त्वत्सेवनं व्यदितसर्गविवृद्धिकामः आविर्बभूविथ तथा लसदष्टबाहुः तस्मै वरं दधिततां च वधूम् असिक्नीं तस्यात्मजास्त्वं युतमीश पुनः सहस्रं श्रीनारदस्य वचसा तव मार्गमापुः नैकत्र वासमृषये समुमोच शापं भक्तोत्मस्त्वर्षिर् अनुग्रहमेव मेने.
And the last line, the bhaktotam, two it and the ta coming, right? So bhaktotamas.
भक्तोत्तमस् त्वरिषिर् अनुग्रहमेव मेने षष्ट्या ततो दुहितृभिः सृजतः कुलौघान् दौहित्रसूनुरथ तस्य स विश्वरूपः त्वत्स्तोत्रमर्मितमजाप्यदिन्द्रमाजौ देवत्यदीय महिमा खलु सर्वजैत्रः प्राक्षूरसेन विषये किल चित्रकेतुः पुत्राग्रही नृपतिर् अंगिरसः प्रभावात् लब्ध्वैकपुत्रमथ तत्र हते सपत्नी संघैरमुह्य दवशस्तव माययासौ.
In the fourth line, that ra we removed it after sanghai. The ra is coming, right? So it's a biscuit and a comma there. So sapatni sanghaihi.
Okay.
Sapatni.
Okay. Sapatni sanghaihi amuhya davashastava mayayasau. Okay, make that correction. Tam naradastu samamangirasadyaluhu samprapya tavad upadarshya sutasya jivam कस्यास्मि पुत्र इति तस्य गिरा विमोहं त्यक्त्वा त्वदर्चन विधौ नृपतिं न्ययुङ्क्त स्तोत्रं च मन्त्रमपि नारदतोऽथ लब्ध्वा तोषाय शेषवपुषो ननु ते तपस्यन् विद्याधराधिपतितां सहि सप्तरात्रे लब्ध्याप्यकुण्ठमतिर् अन्वभजत् भवन्तं.
The fourth line, labdvapya. The verse sound is there. Labdvapya.
लब्ध्वाप्य कुण्ठमतिर् अन्वभजत् भवन्तं. तस्मै मृणाल धवलेन सहस्रशीर्ष्णा रूपेण भद्दनुते सिद्धगणावृतेन प्रादुर्भवन्न चरितोऽनुतिभिः प्रसन्नः धत्वात्म तत्तवम् अनुगृह्य तिरोधदाथ.
The third line, Pradurbhavan chirato, not charito.
Okay. Pradhurbhavanna chirato nutibih prasannaha.
And the present no. And the end one, make it present no instead of present naha.
Okay. Prasanno.
Yeah.
Twadbhakta mauliratha sopi cha laksha laksham varshani harshulamana bhuvaneshu kamam sangapayan gunaganam tava sundaribihi संगातिरेकरहितो ललितं चचार अत्यंत संगविलयाय भवत्प्रणुन्नो नूनं सरूप्य गिरिमाप्य महत्समाजे निशंकम अंककृतवल्लभमंगजारिं तं शंकरं परिहसन् नुमयाभिषेपे निस्सम्भ्रमस्त्वयम् अयाचित शापमोक्षो वृत्रासुरत्वम् उपगम्य सुरेन्द्रयोधी भत्यात्म तत्त्वकथनै समरे विचित्रं शत्रोरपि भ्रमम् अपास्य गतः पदं ते त्वत्सेवनेन दितिरिन्द्रवधोद्यतापि तान् प्रत्युतेन्द्र सुहृदो मरुतोऽभिलेभे दुष्टाशयेऽपि शुभदैव भवन्निषेव तत्तादृशस्त्वमव मां पवनालयेश। कृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः।
Rajesh Karan, I have a question here. For the second verse, how do we say in English the Trivishir, TRIVI?
Yeah. So that one, right? So it's a it with a br, right?
Yes, yes.
The br, right? So the best way, if you pause it at bhakto tamas, then Krishna is going to be very hard to say. So when you're saying it, if you say the whole thing together, right? Then what happens is the br, you can say it very easily, right? So you say bhakto tamas brishir. So you kind of say it continuously and then say the it and then say br.
Okay.
But if you pause it at is, right?
Yeah.
Bhakto tama, then it becomes very hard to say that it and br together.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So it's easy to say the whole thing together, then you'll be able to say it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Dasakam 41 Potana Sharira Daha Varnanam. Vrajeshwara Shauri Vacho Nishamya Sama Vrajanna Dhvani Bhita Chetaha Nishpishta Nisheshatarum Nirikshya Kanchit Padartham Sharanam Gatastvam Nishamya Gopi Vachanadudantam Sarvepi Gopa Bhaya Vismayandhaha Tvatpatitam Ghora Pishacha Deham Dehurvidure Thakuthara Kritam Tvatpita Putastana Tacharirat Samuchalannuchataro Hidhumaha Shanka Madhadagaravah Kimeshaha Kim Chadano Gaulgulavothaviti Madanga Sangasya Phalam Nadure Kshanena Tavat Bhavatam Apisyat Ityullapan Vallavatalla Jebhyaha Tvam Putana Tanuthasu Gandhim Chitram Pishachiana Hatah Kumaraha Chitram Puraiva Kathishauri Nedam Iti Prashamsan Kila Gopaloko Bhavan Mukhalo Karasenya Mangshit Dine Dine Thaprativrudha Lakshmihi Akshina Mangal Yashato Vrajoyam Bhavan Nivasa Daiva Sudeva Pramoda Sandra Parito Vireje Griheshu Te Komala Rupaha Samita Katha Sankulita Kamanyaha Vritteshu Krityeshu Bhavan Niriksha Samagata Pratyahamatyanandan Aho Kumaro Mayidatta Drishtihi Smitang Krutam Mam Prativatsakena Ehe Himamityupasarya Pani Tvayi Shakinkinna Krutam Vadhubhihi Bhavadva Pusparshana Kautukena Karat Karam Gopa Vadhu Janena Nitastvam Sarojamala Vyalam Bilolam Vatula Malasihi Nipayayanti Stanamanka Gantvam Vilokayanti Vadanam Hasanti Dasham Yashoda Kataman Nabheje सतादृशः पाहि हरे गदान् माम्. Shri Krishna Brahmane Namaha.
Very good. Okay, we'll start 42. The Shubhadra, you can be student, and Sangeeta, can you be student?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So 42. So 42 is Sakatasura. So this kind of happens on Krishna's birthday. So I'm presuming they didn't say what age, but I'm assuming it's 1 year because he was still a small baby. So this is where, you know, he was lying next to a cart, and then suddenly people find that the cart is broken into pieces, right? And then the kids then come and say that it was Krishna who kicked, but nobody believes it because he's a really small baby with small hands and feet, right? So that's what is happening here. So Kadapi Janmar Kshadine, Janmar Kshadine means on his birthday. Janmar Kshadine Tava Prabho, comma, Nimantrita Jnati Vadhu Mahisura Mahanasastvam Savidhe Nidhaya Sa, comma, Mahana Sadau Bavrite Brajeshwari. Kadapi Janmakshadine Tava Prabho Nimantritagnyati Vadhu Mahisura Mahanasastvam Savidhe Nidhayasa Mahanasadau Vavrite Brajeshwari.
कदापि जन्मर्क्ष दिने तव प्रभो निमन्त्रित ज्ञातिवधू महीसुरा महानसस्त्वां सविधे निधाय सा महासनाधौ ववृते व्रजेश्वरी.
Sorry, in the last line, Mahana Sadau. I think you flipped the sana.
Oh, okay. Mahanasadau vavrite vrajeshwari kadapi janmarkshadine tava kadapi janmarkshadine tava prabho nimantrita jnati vadhu mahisura mahanasastvam savidhe nidhayasa mahanasadhau vavrite vrajeshwari.
कदापि जन्मर्क्षदिने तव प्रभो निमन्त्रितज्ञातिवधूमहीसुरा महानसस्त्वां सविदे निधायसा महानसाधौ ववृते व्रजेश्वरी. कदापि जन्मर्क्षदिने तव प्रभो निमन्त्रितज्ञातिवधूमहीसुरा महानसस्त्वां सविदे निधायसा Mahanasadhau vavrite vrajeshwari.
Rajesh, quick question. Mahisuraha or veru Mahisuradana? Mahisuraha.
Sorry, I'm talking on mute. There's no visarga there, so just Mahisura is okay.
Okay.
Answer 2. Tato bhavat trana niyukta balaka, and then put a plus. Prabhiti Sankrandana Sankula Ravaihi. Prabhiti Sankrandana Sankula Ravaihi. So the two lines are together. Vimishram Ashravi. You can break at that. Vimishram Ashravi Bhavat Samipataha, comma, Parisputat Daru. So the double the coming there. So Parisputat Daru Chatak Chataravaha. Tato bhavatrana niyukta bhalaka prabhiti sangrandana sankula ravaihi vimishramashrami bhavat ashravi bhavat samipataha parisphutad daru chatat chataravaha.
Tato bhavatrana niyukta balaka prabhiti sangrantana sankulavaihi vimishramashravi bhavat samipataha parisputadaru chatat chataravaha. Tato bhavatrana niyukta balaka prabhiti sangrantana sankulavaihi vimashramashravi bhavat samipataha parisputadaru chatat chataravaha.
The third line is be mishram, be me. Second time you said be ma, be. Okay.
Vimishram. Okay, thank you.
ततो भवत्राणनियुक्तबालकप्रभीतिसङ्क्रन्दनसङ्कुलारवैः विमिश्रमश्राविभवत् समीपतः परिस्फुटद्धारुचटच्चटारवः ततो भवत्राणनियुक्तबालकप्रभीतिसङ्क्रन्दनसङ्कुलारवैः विमिश्रमश्राविभवत् समीपतः परिस्फुटद्धारुचटच्चटारवः
tatas tada karnana sambrama shrama, and then put a plus again, prakampi vakshoja bhara brajanganaha. So those two lines are together. Bhavantam antar dadrishus samantato, comma, Vinishpatat. Again here two das are coming. So Vinishpatat daruna daru madhyagam. Tatastada karnana sambrama shrama prakampi vakshoja bhara brajanganaha bhavantamantar dadrushus samantato Vinishpatat daruna daru madhyagam.
Tatastadha karnana sambhrama prakampi vaksho jabhara vrajanganaha bhavantamantartadrushus samantato vinishpadadharunadaru madhyakam. Tatastadha karna sambhrama prakampi vaksho jabhara vrajanganaha Bhavantamantar tadrushus samantato vinishpadadharunamadaru madhyakam.
Shubhata, on the second time when you were saying it in the first line, karnana, you missed a na, okay? But just, I think you have it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Rajesh, do we have a break after the third line? Bhavantam manta mantato or no break?
Samantato, after the samantato, there is a break, yeah, comma there.
Okay, thanks.
ततस्तदा कर्णन सम्भ्रमश्रम प्रकम्पि वक्षो झबरा व्रजाङ्गनाः भवन्तमन्तर्ददृशुः समन्ततो विनिष्पदद्दारुणदारुमध्यकम् ततस्तदा कर्णन सम्भ्रमश्रम प्रकम्पि वक्षो झबरा व्रजाङ्गनाः Bhavantam antardadrushus samantato vinishpatadharunadharu madhyagam.
Sangeeta, and after the samantato, there is a comma, okay, in third line.
Oh.
Okay. Shishoraho kim kima bhuditi drutam, comma, pradavya nandaha. Is there put if nanda pashupascha bhusuraha Bhavantam alokya yashodaya dhritam, comma, samashvasan nashru. Again, double na coming there. It's samashvasan ashru, but becomes two nas there. So samashvasan nashru jalardra lochanaha. So again, the comma after every line in this case. Shishoraho kim kimabhuditit drutam Pradavyananda Pashupascha Bhusuraha Bhavantamalokya Yashodaya Dhritam Samashvasanna Srujalardralochanaha.
Shishoraho kim kimabhudididrutam pradhavyananda pashupascha bhusuraha bhavantamalokya yashodaya dhritam samashvasan ashrujaladhralochanaha.
And the sorry, in the last line, although it's samashvasan ashru, the way you're saying is correct only, but you kind of, when you say it together, both the na will come. So samashvasan ashru. Okay, so
okay. So let me put the line there because it is broken. It's given as broken. So okay. Yeah. Shishoraho kim kimabhudididrutam pradhavyananda pashupascha bhusuraha भवन्तमालोक्य यशोदया धृतं समाश्वसन्नश्रु जलार्द्रलोचनाः. Correct Dada?
Yeah, correct.
शिशोरहो किमभूदिति द्रुतं प्रधाव्यनन्दः पशुपाशभूसुराः भवन्तमालोक्य यशोधया धृतं जलार्द्रलोचनाः. शिशोरहो किमभूदिति द्रुतं प्रधाव्यनन्दः पशुपाशभूसुराः भवन्तमालोक्य यशोधया धृतं समाश्वसन्नश्रुजलार्द्रलोचनाः.
Stanza 5. Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo, comma, vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam na karanam kinchidi heti te stitaha, comma, swanasika datta karas twa dikshakaha. So again, comma after every line here. Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam nakaranam kinchidi heti te stitaha swanasika datta karastwadikshakaha.
Rajesh, nat karanam or na karanam? Because I have it.
Na kadiyadu, it's just na karanam.
Okay.
Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam nakaranam kinchiti heti te stitaha swanasika tattva karastva dikshakaha. Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam nakaranam kinchiti heti te stitaha swanasika tatta karastva dikshakaha.
Kasko tu kautas kuta esha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam nakaranam kinchidi heti te stitaha swanasikhadatthakarastvadikshakaha. Kasko nu kautas kuta esha vismayo vishankatam yachakatam vipatitam nakaranam kinchidi heti te stitaha swanasikhadatthakarastvadikshakaha.
I think the only slight difference, maybe, I think the reason maybe why you asked that question is I was pausing very briefly after that na, and you are saying it together, right?
Okay.
So I think that's so essentially what, because here, because they are wondering is how did this happen? Everybody is surprised and they're saying that there is no reason at all for this to happen. So na karanam, right? That's what it is. So that's why when I was saying it, I'm very brief pausing. Na karanam. Okay. I think when you were saying you were like nakaranam, you join those two words.
Because it is joined for me, so I'm reading it the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it essentially means no reason. That's what it is there. Okay. Kumara kasyasya payodhararthinaha, comma, prarodane lola padambujahatam. That word is together. Padambujahatam. Maya drishtamano viparyagat. So that you have removed that. Put the it first. Viparyagat, comma. Next word starts with the E. Itisha te palaka balaka jaguhu. So when they all come and ask, all the small children who are taking care of the baby, and if everybody comes and asks what happened, how did this happen? Because there is no reason for these things to happen, for this cart to be shattered. So the small kids who are there are saying that I saw it. That's why that Maya is coming twice, right? Maya Drishtamano. They're saying we saw it, I saw it. And they say that the baby was moving its legs, and then with the legs it actually hit the cart, and the cart got shattered to pieces. Kumara Kasyasya. Oh, we already said that. Kumara Kasyasya Payodhararthinaha Prarodane Lola Padambujahatam Maya Drishtamano Viparyagate Iti Shate Palaka Balaka Jaguhu.
कुमारकस्यास्य भयोदरार्तिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इति शते पालकबालका जगुः कुमारकस्यास्य भयोधरार्तिनः प्ररोदने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इति शते पालकबालका जगुः
कुमारकस्यास्य पयोदरार्तिनः प्ररोधने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इति शते पालकबालका जगुः कुमारकस्यास्य पयोदरार्तिनः प्ररोधने लोलपदाम्बुजाहतं मया दृष्टमनो विपर्यगात् इति शते पालकबालका जगुः.
Stanza 7. Bhiya tada. The next word, if you want to break it, you can break it at that da kinchit ajanatamidam, but you can also say it together. Kinchida janatamidam, comma. Kumara kanam ati durgatam vachaha bhavat prabhava vidurair itiritam. Bhavat prabhava vidurair itiritam, comma. Managi vashankyata. That word comes together. Managi vashankyata drishta putanaihi. He's saying that while some people may actually wonder that what the children are saying is probably not possible, right? Because it is improbable, it's impossible for a small kid, small baby to touch with its feet and the cart to get shattered. However, those who know about the Putana incident, right, which are very few, so whoever who knew about what happened to Putana, so they were like ashankita, they had no doubt that it was Krishna who did this, where with touch of his feet he shattered the cart. So those who had seen the Putana incident or those who knew about it. Bhiya tada kinchida janatamidam kumarakanamati durghatam vachaha bhavat prabhava vidurairiti managi vashankyata drishta putanaihi.
भिया तदा किञ्चित् जानतामितं कुमारकाणाम् अतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवा शङ्कय दृष्टभूतनैः.
The last line, managiva
शङ्क्यत दृष्टभूतनैः. भिया तदा किञ्चित् जानतामिदं कुमारकाणाम् अतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवा शङ्क्यत दृष्टभूतनैः.
भिया तदा किञ्चित् अजानतामिदं कुमारकाणामतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवा शङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः. भिया तदा किञ्चित् अजानतामिदं कुमारकाणामतिदुर्घटं वचः भवत्प्रभावा विदुरैरितीरितं मनागिवा शङ्क्यत दृष्टपूतनैः.
Pravala tamram kimidam padam kshatam, comma, saroja ramyau nu karau virojitau iti prasarpat karuna tarangitaha. So that is there, remove it, visarga and a comma, tarangitaha. Twadangam apasprishur angana janaha. If you want to break it, you can easily break it into 3 parts. Tvad angam apasprishur angana janaha. Or you can say the whole thing together as well. Pravalatamram kimidam padam kshatam sarojaram yaunukarau virojitau iti prasarpat karuna tarangitaha twadangamapasprishuranganā janaha.
Pravalatamram kimidam padam kshatam sarojaramyau nukarau virojitau iti prasarpat karuna tarangitaha twadangam apasprushurangana janaha. Pravalatamram kimidam padam kshatam sarojaramyau nukarau virojitau iti prasarpat karuna tarangitaha twadangamapasprushurangana janaha.
Pravalatamram kimidam padam kshatam sarojaram yaunupurau virojitau iti prasarpat karuna tarangitaha twadangamapasprisharangana janaha.
And okay, I'll stop you. The cup 2 things it was not accurate. Okay, go ahead. I'll stop you this time.
Okay. Pravalatamram kimidam padam kshatam sarojaram yaunupurau
Oh,
virojitau.
karau.
Oh,
Karau means hands. Yeah, karau, not
okay,
kurau.
okay. Nu karau. Okay.
Yeah.
Sarojaram nu karau virojitau iti prasarpat karuna tarangitaha twadangamapasprisharangana janaha.
Prishur angana janaha.
Prishur. Okay.
Yeah.
Prishur angana janaha. Shall I go one more time?
No, that's okay. I think you got it. Aye sutam dehi jagat patehe. Is there? Put a ich sound. Jagat pateh kripa. And then put a plus. Taranga patat paripatam adhyate together. So those 2 lines are together. Put a plus.
Adyateva meva.
Adya me. Sorry. So those 2 lines are together. Itis sma sangrihya pita twadangakam. So first is a ga, second is a ka. Angakam, comma. Muhur muhuhu is there. Put a ish sound. Muhur muhush shlishyati. So it's a ish and then a li is coming. So shlishyati jata kantakaha. Ahe sutam dehi jagat pateh kripa taranga patat paripata madhyame itisma sangrihya pita twadangakam muhur muhuslishyati jata kantakaha.
Aye sutam dehi jagatpate kripa tarangapatat paripata madhyame itisma sangrihya pita twadangakam muhur muhuslishyati jata kantakaha. Aye sutam dehi jagatpate kripa tarangapatat paripata madhyame itisma sangrihya pita twadangakam muhur muhuslishyati jata kantakaha.
That last line, right? Shlishyati and then sha. You're saying is.
Oh, shlishi. Muhur muhuslishyati jata kantakaha.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Aye sutam dehi jagatpate kripa tarangapatat pratipata madhyame itisma sangrihya pita twadangakam muhur muhuslishyati jata kantakaha.
Sangeeta, the second line.
Mhm.
Paripatam.
Prati-
Patat, Tarangapatat,
Mhm.
Paripatam, Adyame.
Oh, paripatam and adyame. It has to be split.
No, it doesn't have to be split, but I think the Paripatam you said something else.
Oh, okay. Aye sutam dehi jagatpate kripa tarangapatat pratipatyam adyame.
You're saying Pratipatyam, you're saying, right? Paripatam.
Okay. Aye sutam dehi jagatpate kripa tarangapatat paripatamadzame iti sma sangrihya pita tvadangakam muhurmuhuslishyati jata kantakaha.
I think on the tuner you were slightly off. That is because in the middle of the line you're treating Jagat Pate as the middle of the line, while if you treat Kripa as the middle of the line after Kripa, then it will come properly.
Oh, okay.
So just try that one line, the first line.
Sure. Aye sutam dehi jagatpate kripa tarangapatat pratipatyamadyame.
Paripatam.
Okay. Paripatamadhyame.
Yeah. You got it, right? So that is the thing. Yeah. Ano nilinaha. Is there put a ich sound? Ano nilinah kila hantumagataha, comma, surari revam bhavata bihimsitaha rajopi no drishtam amushya or drishtam amushya tat katam, comma, sa shuddha satve tvai linavan dhruvam. Ano nilinah kila hantumagataha surarirevam bhavata bihimsitaha rajopi no drishtamamushya tat katham sashuddha satve tvayilinavan dhruvam.
Ano nilina kila hantumagataha surarirevam bhavata vihimsitaha rajopino drishtamammushya tat katham sashuddha satve tvayilinavan dhruvam. Ano nilina kila hantumagataha surarirevam bhavata vihimsitaha rajopino drishtamammushya tat katham sashuddha satve tvayilinavan dhruvam.
Ano nilina kila hantumagataha surarirevam bhavata vihimsitaha rajopi no drishtamammushya tat katham nashuddha satve tvayilinavan dhruvam.
Get the fourth line. Sa shuddha.
Sashuddha, sorry. Ano nilina kila hantumagataha surarirevam bhavata vihimsitaha rajopi no drishtamammushya tat katham sashuddha satve tvayilinavan dhruvam.
Stanza 11. Prapujitais tatra tato dvijati bihi.
Rajesh, once again, I don't have stanza 11 in my book.
Oh, Abriya. Okay. The Sangeeta Prasad, you can do the stanza 11. Do you have it? Instead of Sangeeta V.
Yes, I have it, Rajesh.
Prapujitais, I'll send you the picture, Sangeeta. Okay.
Yeah.
Prapujitais tatra tato dvijati bihi. Put a visarga after B, bihi and comma. So next line on top of that B, if you have a ir, that goes away. So Visheshato lambhita mangalashishaha vrajam nijair balya rasair bimohayan, comma, marutpuradhisha rujam jahihi me. Prapujitais tatra tato dvijati bihi visheshato lambhita mangalashishaha brajam nijair balya rasair vimohayan marutpuradhisha rujam jahihi me.
Prabhujitaiस्तत्र tato dvijati bi Prabhujitaiस्तत्र tato dvijati द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीश रुजां जिहीहि मे sorry प्रभूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजं निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीश रुजां जहीहि मे.
Rajesh, the third line la Vrajam Nijaihi Visarga irukku.
Apna ir, just put a ir to join it. That's it. R.
Balya Rasai.
Yeah, Nijai, yeah.
प्रपूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजन्निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे.
Sangeeta, on the first line, Dwijati bihi. T comes. I think you mixed one of things there. Anyway.
Dvijat, small t, right?
Dwijati bihi.
प्रपूजितैस्तत्र ततो द्विजातिभिः विशेषतो लम्बितमङ्गलाशिषः व्रजन्निजैर्बाल्यरसैर्विमोहयन् मरुत्पुराधीशरुजां जहीहि मे.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. So that gets finishes at 42. So we'll start with 43. So we'll switch. Sri Vidya, Sriram, can you be a student?
Sure.
Sriram irkela inniki. Yes, Sri.
Yeah, Rajesh.
Okay. You can be student Sriram.
Okay.
So 43. So 43 is Trinavarta Vadavarnanam. So Trinavarta was like the tornado Mari. So it's a wind, right? So because in the end, Bhattadripat has a very nice stanza. So we'll come to that at the end. But so this is related to that. This is all happening before the naming ceremony happens on 44. So we've already seen the naming ceremony, right? So because all these things are happening, people are very worried. That's why when Garga Muni eventually comes on the 44th Dasakam, where Nanda Gopa then gets very happy and he says, a lot of bad omens have happened already. So please come and bless my children. He's also requesting Garga Muni. So that is happening anyway in 44. So this is all happening kind of around the 1 year or little less around that time. So this one, I think it's easy to do it 4 lines together only. So Twam ekada Guru Marut Pura Natha Vodhum, comma Gadhadhi Rudha Garimanam. If you want to break it, you can say Garimanam Aparayanti, or you can say it together Garimanam Aparayanti. Mata Nidhaya Shayane Kimidam Bateti, short e at the end, comma Dhyayantya Cheshtata Griheshu Nivishta Shanka. Swame kada Guru Marut Puranatha Vodhum Gadhadi Rudha Garimanam Aparayanti Mata Nidhaya Shayane Kimidam Bateti Dhyayantya Cheshtata Griheshu Nivishta Shanka.
Gata Guru Marutpuranatha Vodhum Gadhadirudha Garimana Aparayanti Mata Nidhaya Shayane Kimidam Bateti Dhyayantya Cheshtata Griheshu Nivishta Shanka.
Shivdi, on the second line, the Garimanam, and then if you Aparayanti, easier to break it that way.
Okay. Garimanam Aparayanti.
Yeah, I think the Garimana Maparayanti abdinel. So on the break it at the im if you're doing that.
Twame gata Guru Marut Puranatha Vodhum Gadhadiruda Garimanam Aparayanti Mata Nidhaya Shayane Kimidam Bateti Dhyayantya Cheshtata Griheshu Nivishta Shanka.
द्वामेकदा गुरुमरुत्पुरनादवूढुम् गाढाधिरूढगरिमाणमपारयन्ती माता निताय शयने किमितं पतेति ध्यायन्त्यचेष्टद गृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का.
Shanka, and the very end, Sha, Shanka.
Okay. द्वामेकदा गुरुमरुत्पुरनादवूढुम् गाढाधिरूढगरिमाणम् अपारयन्ती मादा निधाय शयने किमिदं पतेति ध्यायन्त्यचेष्टद गृहेषु निविष्टशङ्का.
Tavad viduram upakarnita ghora ghosha, and then put a plus, vyajrumbi pamsu patali paripuritashaha. So the two lines are together, so put a plus at the end of the first line. Vatya vapus sa kila daitya varas trinava, you'll have it, put a plus. And then the best way to say it, remember the name of the person is Trinavarta is the name of the person, is a asura. So the best way to say it is you got to Trinavartakyo. Okay, so the ir and the ta of the next line, of the fourth line, you kind of have to say it at the end of the third line and then continue. That will be the easiest way to say it. So Daitya Varas Trinavartakyo Jahara Janamanasa Harinam Twam. Okay, so first two lines.
Technically, first two lines are together and the second two lines are together.
Together, exactly. Because the Trinavartakyo and then the ta of Trinavarta would pair, some of it is coming in the fourth line. So that's why we are seeing those third and fourth together as well. Tavad viduram upakarnita ghora ghosha vyajrum vipam supatali paripuritashaha Vatya vapussakila daitya varastrinavartakyo jahara janamana saharinam twam.
Tavat viduramupakarnita ghora gosha vyajrumbi pam supatali paripuritashaha Vatyavapussakila daitya varastrinavartakyo jahara janamanasaharinam twam Tavat viduramupakarnita ghora gosha vyajrumbipam supatali paripuritashaha paripuritashaha Vatyavapussakila daityavarastrinavartakyo jahara janamanasaharinam twam
Davat vidur mubakarnita kora koshavyajrum bibamsu padali paripuridasaha Vatyavabushakila daitya varastrinavartakyo jahara janamanasa harinam dvam. Davat vidur mubakarnita.
Shira, once again. Tavat viduram, full ra is there. Tavat viduram. First line.
Tavat viduram upakarnita kora koshavyajrum bibamsu padali paripuridasaha Vadyabhuvashakila daitya varastrinavartakyo jahara janamanasa harinam dvam.
The third line, the vapu. Okay, vatya vapus. I think the first time you said it correct. Second time there was some mistake there. Okay, vatya vapus. The third line. Vatya vapus. Okay.
Vatya vapus. Okay.
Uddama, double the Uddama pamsu timirahata drishti pate, comma drashtum kimapya kushale pashupala loke ha balakasya kimiti twadupantam apta tvadupantam apta, comma, mata bhavantam avilokya bhrisham ruroda. So what's happened so far is, so one day Yashoda was generally doing her work, right? And because the baby is now getting close to a year, he is heavy. So Anala, she was not able to carry him and do the work. So she ends up putting Krishna to make him lie down on the bed. And then she continues with her work. So when she's doing that, all of a sudden, one of this Asura called Trinavarta, who's one of the messengers of Kamsa, he then comes in the form of a tornado, like a whirlwind. And when he comes with a very loud roar. Like when we hear, of course, we live in Chicago, so we know this very well. So it's like with a heavy sound and a noise, and this whirlwind is now coming, and it gets extremely dark outside. And this whirlwind comes, and then it goes kind of through their community, right? And when that happens, what it's doing is it is actually throwing up the dust everywhere. It's throwing up dust everywhere, and then it just goes through, and it gets very dark. So on the Samayatla, when nobody could see because there is dust everywhere, there's a lot of noise happening. But Yashoda kind of knew that she had left the baby somewhere. So Anala, even in the darkness, while everybody else was screaming and they could not see, Yashoda somehow navigated to the spot where she thought she had left the baby. And then when she goes there and she looks for it right in the darkness, and she cannot find the baby right now. So she starts to cry. So that's a ruroda. So she starts to cry because she cannot feel the baby there where she had left it. Uddamapam sutimirahat drishtipate drashtum kimapyakushale pashupalaloke habalakasya kimite tvadupantamapta mata bhavantam avilokya brisham rurodha.
उद्दामपां सुतिमिरा हतदृष्टिपाते द्रष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति त्वतुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोद उद्दामपां सुतिमिरा हतदृष्टिपाते द्रष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके हा बालकस्य किमिति त्वदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोद
उत्तामभां सुतिमिराहदृष्टिपादे दृष्टुं किमप्यकुशले पशुपाललोके आपालकस्य किमिति त्वदुपान्तमाप्ता माता भवन्तमविलोक्य भृशं रुरोदः.
And the drashtum is ishanga, second line, that drashtum. Adhe mari in the kushale, adu sha. And then brisham in the fourth line is also a sha. So those places are all sha.
Okay. Uttamabam sutimirakhada drishtipade drishtum kimapya kushale pashubalaloke abalakasya kimidit tvadupantamapta mata bhavantamavilokya prishum ruroda.
Brisham ruroda. Tavat sa danava varopi cha dina murtihi. So visarga and the comma at the end of that line, dina murtihi, comma. Next line on top of that bha, you will see a ir, remove that off. So bhavatka bhara paridharana luna vegaha sankochamapa tadanu kshata pamsu ghoshe, comma, ghoshe vyatayata bavaj janani ninadaha. Tavat sadanavavaropi chadina murtihi bhavatka bhara paridharana luna vegaha sankochamapa tadanu kshatapam sughoshe ghoshe vyatayata bhavajjanani ninadaha.
तावत् सदानव वरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः सङ्कोशमापतदनुक्षतपं शतपां सुघोषे घोषे व्यथायत भवज्जननी निनादः तावत् सदा नववरोऽपि च दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरिधारणलूनवेगः संकोस
संकोचम आप
संकोचम ओके संकोचमाप तदनु क्षतपां सुघोषे घोषे व्यथायत भवज्जननी निनादः
दावत् सदानववरोऽपि स दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरितारणलूनवेगः संकोशमाप तदनुक्षतपां सुकोशे कोशे व्यदायत भवञ्जननी निनादः.
Sriram, the first letter, first line, tavat, first tavat. Okay. And then the third line is sankocham.
Okay. तावत् सदा नववरोऽपि स दीनमूर्तिः भावत्कभारपरितारणलूनवेगः संकोचमाप तदनुक्षतपां सुकोशे कोशे व्यधायत भवञ्जननी निनादः.
And the last line there, you are saying in Bhavan in the cake, I'm hearing is Bhavaj, Ij, right? You have Ij.
Okay. Goshe Vyadayata Bhavajjanani Ninadaha.
Rodopa Karnana Vashad Upagamya. If you want to break it, you can break it at the Du, Vashad Upagamya or Vashad Upagamya together, you can say. Geham, comma, Krandatsu Nanda Mukha Gopa Kuleshu Dinaha Twam Danavas Twakila Mukti Karam Mumukshuhu. So put a visarga at the end of that line. Mumukshuhu, comma. Tvaya Pramunchati Papata Biyat Pradeshat. So the Asura who's now Trinavarta who's now carrying, and so Yashoda is beginning to scream. So when the Asura then moves away from that kind of house, right, from the area there. So because what happens is Krishna now starts becoming heavier and heavier, and as the wind, then because of the heaviness of Krishna, the Asura is not able to contain Krishna. So when he had just moved away from the house area and the darkness had gone away as well, so the noise also had subsided, then all of a sudden all these gopikas and everybody hear Yashoda screaming, because she's screaming that Krishna is missing. So then later on, little away from their house, because of the weight of Krishna, as his weight increased, the Asura is no longer able to hold him, and then he ends up falling. So he then entire thing drops down. So just like how you liberate people, the Asura ended up liberating you. That's what he means. By liberating here, he means he freed you off, right? So who you confer liberation on people. So similarly, the Asura now was able to let you go because he could not carry you anymore. That's what is happening in 5. Rodopakarnanavashadupaghamya geham Krandat Sunanda Mukha Gopa Kuleshu Dinaha Twam Danavastvakila Muktikaram Mumukshuhu Tvaya Pramunchati Papata Biyat Pradeshat.
रोदोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्दः सुनन्दमुख गोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिल मुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्य प्रमुञ्चति पपाद वियत् प्रदेशात् रोदोपकर्णनवशादुपगम्य गेहं क्रन्तः सुनन्दमुख गोपकुलेषु दीनः त्वां दानवस्त्वखिल मुक्तिकरं मुमुक्षुः त्वय्य प्रमुञ्चति पपात वियत् प्रदेशात्.
रोतोपकर्णन वसातु पगम्य गेहम् क्रन्दत्सुनन्दमुग गोपकुलेषु दीनः द्वं तानवस्त्वकिल मुक्तिकरम् मुमुक्षुः त्वय्यप्रमुञ्चित पपादव्यत्प्रतेशात्.
Srinam, on the third line, twam. Okay. Third line, first word, twam.
Okay.
And then on the fourth line, tvaya pramunchati.
Munchati. Okay. Rotopakarnana vasadu pagamya geham krantat sunanda muga gopa kuleshu dinaha tvam tanavastvakila muktigaram umukshuhu tvaya pramunchati apada vyat pratesat.
Stanza 6. Rodha kulas tadanu gopa gana bahishta, and then put a plus. Pashana prishta bhuvi deham atistha. If you want to break it, deham atistha vishtam. So the first two lines are together. Praikshanta hanta nipatantam amushya. If you want to break it, nipatantam amushya vaksha, and then put a plus. So nimushya vaksha yakshina. So on the is that you have in the fourth line, you say it with the third line. So vakshas yakshinam eva cha bhavantam alam hasantam. So the first two lines are together, the last two lines are together. Rodha kulas tadanu gopagana bahishta pashana prishtha bhuvi dehamatista vishtam Praikshanta hanta nipatantam amushya vakshas yakshinameva cha bhavantam malam hasantam bhavantam alam hasantam. If you want to break it.
रोधाकुलास्तदनु गोपगणा बहिष्ट पाषाण पृष्ठ भुवि देहमति सतिस्तविष्टम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्तममुष्य वक्षस्य क्षीणमवभवन्तमलं हसन्तम्.
Yakshinameva. Fourth line. Vakshas yakshinameva.
वक्षस्य क्षीण. Okay. रोधाकुलास्तदनु गोपगणा बहिष्ट भाषाण पृष्ठ भुवि देहमतिस्तविष्टम् प्रैक्षन्त हन्त निपतन्तममुष्य वक्षस्य क्षीणमेव च भवन्तमलं हसन्तम्. சரியா?
Correct, yeah.
Rodakulastadanu gopagana bahishta pashana brishta bhuvideha madistavishtam praikshanta hanta nibadam amushya vakshas yakshinameva cha bhavantamalam asantam.
Srinam, third line, after hanta, nipatantam
Rodha kulas tadanu gopagana bahishta.
and the nipatantam amushya. I think on the word you forgot like one ta or something.
Nipatantam. Oh, okay, now the pirchi nibadantam im potrna nibadantam.
That's okay, but nipatantam amushya it becomes then anyway.
Oh,
okay, you're right. Yeah.
Rodakulastadanu gopagana bahishta pashana brishta bhuvideha madistavishtam prakshanta hanta nibadantam amushya vakshas yakshinameva cha bhavantamalam asantam.
Grava prapata paripishta garishta deha, and then put a plus again. Bhrashtasu dushta danujopari drishta hasam. The first is dushta, second is drishta hasam. Agnanam ambuja karena bhavantam etya, comma, gopa dadhur giri varadiva neela ratnam. So when they hear, when the Asura could not carry the weight of the Lord, he then comes crashing down. And then he comes crashing, and the huge body of his lands on a rock. And then Krishna ends up sitting on the Asura. And then, like a small baby, like what a 1-year-old baby is doing, unlike a 1-year-old baby maybe, is instead of crying, what he's doing is hasantam, he's laughing, and then he's beating, like patting right on the chest of the Asura. So when these Gopas and Gopikas now come rushing, they see that this huge body of an Asura, which is actually sitting on a rock or lying on a rock, and then they see this small baby, which is actually on top of it, laughing, and as if they're saying, Girivaradiva Neelaratnam, as if on top, imagine Krishna is also dark blue or black in color. So on top of a large mountain, when you see a small gem, a blue color gem, that's how it was on top of this large Asura, a small baby is sitting, which is dark blue in color. And so they lift that baby there. So Grava Prapata Paripishta Garishtha Deha Brashtasu Dushtadanujo Paridrishtahasam Agnanamambujakarena bhavantametya Gopa Dadhur Girivaradiva Neelaratnam.
Grava Prapata Paripishta Garishta Deha Prashta Sudushta Tadan Tanujo Paridrishtahasam Agnanamambujakarena bhavantametya Gopa Dadhur Girivaradiva Neelaratnam. Grava Prapada Paripishta Karishta Deha Prashta Sudushta Danujo Paridrishtahasam Agnanamambujakarena bhavantamedya Gopa Tadhur Girivaradiva Neelaratnam.
Krava Prabhada Paripishta Karishta Deha Prashtasu Dushta Danujobari Drishtahasam Agnanamambujakarena Bhavandametya Gopa Dadur Girivaradiva Neelaratnam. Krava Prabhada Paripishta Karishta Deha Prashtasu Dushta Danujobari Drishtahasam Agnanamambujakarena Bhavandametya Gopa Dadur Girivaradiva Neelaratnam.
Stanza 8. Ekaikam Ashu Parigrihya Nikama Nanda is there. Put a plus there at the end of that line. And then the next line, you'll see two nas come, in and a na coming, right? So you move one of the in to the first line. So Nikama Nandan plus Nandadi Gopa Parirabdha Vichumbitangam. So those two lines are together, and you say in at the end of the first line.
Vishumbiya, Vichumbiya.
Vichumbitangam.
Okay, indla Vishun irukku. Sha and the SH sha irukku.
Oh, okay. Can you change to cha? Vichumbi
Okay.
means kiss. So Nanda Gopa is lifting him and kissing him. So Vichumbitangam.
Thank you.
Chumbitangam. That's what it is. Chumbitangam. Adatu Kama Pari Shankita Gopa Nadi, and then put a plus. Hastambuja Prapatitam Pranumo Bhavantam. Ekaikamashu Parigrihya Nikamanandan Nandadi Gopa Parirabdha Vichumbitangam Adatu Kama Parishankita Gopanari Hastambuja Prapatitam Pranumo Bhavantam.
Ekaikamashu Parigrihya Nikamanandan Nandadi Gopa Parirabdha Vishumbitangam. Vichumbitangam. Adatu Kama Parishankita Gopanari Hastambuja Prapatitam Pranumo Bhavantam. एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन्नन्दादिगोपपरिरब्ध विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आदातु कामपरिशङ्कितगोपनारिहस्ताम्बुज प्रपतितं प्रणुमो भवन्तम्
एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निकामनन्दन्नन्दातिगोपपरिरप्त विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आतातु कामपरिसङ्गितगोपनारि हस्ताम्बुज प्रबदितं प्रणमो भवन्तम्.
Sridham, on the third line, Parishankita, Sha. Okay. Third line, Parishankita. And then the last one, I think Srividya and the Nari, right? And the Nari end is a long E.
Long E, okay.
Yeah. Gopanari, Hastam, Bhuja.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. एकैकमाशु परिगृह्य निगामनन्दन्नन्दाति गोपपरिरप्त विचुम्बिताङ्गम् आतातु कामपरिशङ्कितकोपनारी हस्ताम्बुज प्रबदितं प्रणमो भवन्तम्.
So here Bhattacharya says, Pranumo, I am praying to you, O Lord Bhavantam, to you, who Nandagopa then lifts, right? He sees them, he lifts you, and then what happens is both they're all extremely happy that nothing happened here to the baby, and both Nandagopa and the Gopas and the Gopikas are passing you. You are jumping from one hand to other hand. They're happily passing you around and chumbitangam, and they're kissing you and embracing you, and you are getting moved or passed away from one person to other, right? Because they're happy that nothing happened to you and you survived this. Bhuyopi Kinnu, double na, kinnu, krinumaha is there, put a if, krinumah, pranatarti hari, long e, comma, govinda eva paripalayatat sutam naha, ityadi matara pitra pramukais tadhanim, comma, samprartitas tvada vanaya Vibho Tvameva. So here it says that your father, your mother, as well as Nanda and Yashoda here, right? Along with all the Gopas and Gopikas are now going and praying to you to protect you. So as he says, Matara, Pitru, all of them are now praying to Tvadavanaya for your protection. They are coming and praying to you itself. So they're going to Hari and saying, please protect my Lord. So they're essentially coming to you and praying for your own protection, saying what can be, there's nothing that we can do, only the Lord has to protect our child who's going through all these things. Bhuyo pikinnu krinumah pranatartihari govinda eva paripalayatat sutam naha ityadi matara pitra pramukhais tadanim samprartitas tvadavanaya vibho tvameva.
Bhuyopi kinnu krinumah pranatartihari govinda eva paripalayattatat sutam naha.
Paripalayatat. I think you said tatat, right?
Okay. Paripalayatat.
Yeah.
Sutam naha. Ityadi matara pitru pramukaistadanim samprartitastvadavanaya vibho tvameva. Bhuyopi kinnu krunumah pranatartihari govinda eva paripalayatat sutam naha ityadi matara pitru pramukaistadanim samprartitastvadavanaya vibho tvameva.
Bhuyobi kimnu kranamah pranadartihari govinda eva paripalayadat sudam naha idyadi madara pitru pramukaistatanim samprartitastvadavanaya vibho tvameva. Bhuyobi kimnu kranamah pranadartihari गोविन्द एव परिपालयदात्सुदं नः इत्यादिमादरपितृप्रमुखैस्तथानीं सम्प्रार्थितस्त्वदवनाय विभो त्वमेव.
Stanza 10. So in the stanza 10, when they say anyway, Bhattaripada at the end of the day is suffering from the arthritis, right? Rheumatoid arthritis, which is caused by excess vayu in your body, right? Which is kind of why he also goes to Guru Vayur. So while all chapters he anyway says, protect me, this one he very specifically says is that when that Dhanuja, when that Asura came in the form of a wind, Trinavarta came in the form of a tornado, that entire Asura who was in such a powerful wind which came, you were able to get rid of him very easily when you were a small baby without any effort. And me, my state, Mama Gadan, is Vatodbhavan. I am now inflicted because of wind in my body, right? Because of the Vayu. He says, now I just have a very small amount of Vayu in my body because of which I am suffering. So he says, Kimuno Dunoshi, why? How can it be that you are not able to help me out? This should be such a simple thing to do. You got rid of that entire Asura when he came as a tornado. I'm just suffering from a small amount of excess air in my body. So Kimuno Danoshi, how can you not help me? So what else can I do? Right? He says, Kimva Kormi, what else can you do other than completely pray to you? So he says, Nishesha Roga Shamanam. He says, please eradicate all the ailments I have. The Vathalayesha, Nilalayesha, he says, right? Which is the Lord of Guru Vayu. And says, I have no other choice other than to completely pray to you. Muhurarte, keep praying to you again and again. That's what he says. I have no choice and I'll continue to do that. So, Vatatmakam Danujam Evamayi Pradhunmanne, Vatot Bhavan Mama Gadan Kimu no Dhunoshi. Short E then Dhunoshi. Kimva Karomi Punarapya Nilala Yesha, Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurartaye Twam. Vatatmakam Danujameva Mayi Pradhunvanhe Vatot Bhavan Mamagadan Kimuno Dhunoshi Kimva Karomi Punarapya Nilalayesha Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurartaye Twam.
Vatatmakam Danujameva Mayi Pradhunvan Vatodbhavan Mamagadan Kimuno Dhunoshi Kimva Karomi Punarapya Nilalayesha Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurdaye Twam.
On the last line, Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurarthaye Twam.
Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurartaye Twam. Vatatmakam Danujameva Mayi Pradhunvan Vatodbhavan Mamagadan Kimuno Dhunoshi Kimva Karomi Punarapya Nilalayesha Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurartaye Twam.
And the second line, Vatot Bhavan, and you're saying in the Ban Varamating. That's what you have, right? Vatot Bhavan, second line.
Okay. Vatot Bhavan Mama Gadan. Okay.
Vadatmagam Tanujameva Mayi Pradhunvan Vadodbhavan Mamakadan Kimuno Donoshi Kimva Karomi Punarapya Nilalayesha Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurartaye Dvam. Vadatmagam Tanujameva Mayi Pradhunvan Vadodbhavan Mamakadan Kimuno Donoshi Kimva Karomi Punarapya Nilalayesha Nishesha Roga Shamanam Muhurartaye Dvam.
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Ends this chapter. We'll end the class here today. Sandhranandhava Bodhatmakamanupamitam कालदेशावदिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.